Okay. Rolling bottom Mishnah on Samach Gimel Amud Aleph. Okay, a man marries a woman, and he says to her, "Arei mukdeshes li, amnas sheyirtza abo." If my father's in agreement to this marriage, then it's a marriage. If not, then it's not a marriage. The Gemara's going to ask, what does it mean in agree? Does he have to say yes? Or when he finds out about it, he has to remain silent? Okay? It's a question in Gemara. No, which means the moment he finds out about it, does he remain silent? That means he didn't protest, or he does protest. Or does he actually have to say yes? Non-protest is not enough. He has to say yes. Amnash Yirtzaba literally means my father should want. No. That Rashi points out. It's open-ended. Then how could you be Mukudeshes? Right? There's no end to it. No. He's marrying her now on the condition that the father doesn't oppose it. So it's nothing. The marriage means retroactive marriage was nothing. It's conditional on the father being agreeable or not being agreeable to the marriage. So that's a whole discussion with Gemara and Ksubis. The person goes and consummates the marriage where he didn't say the condition at the time of the chuppah. If he said the condition at the time of the chuppah, that's a whole different story. Let's say he said the condition at the time of the kiddushin, but didn't repeat the condition at the time of the chuppah. Whatever the condition may be, any condition, whatever it may be. Because there's a whole discussion, because if that's the case, if he cohabits with her, that means it's considered as just a sexual act. And a person doesn't want it just to be a promiscuous act. He wants it to be within the context of a mitzvah. That's a separate discussion. This is only kiddushin, right? He's not consummating a marriage. He's marrying the condition the father wants. Father wants, yes. If not, then it's not a marriage. I remember many years ago, when the Iranians, the boys came to America in the 70s. So they came, they fled Iran right after the Shah fled, and they came to the yeshiva. I'd say enrolled in yeshiva with just a few hundred of them. The rest of them, they went to universities wherever they went, and many of them just totally assimilated. So there are two cities in Iran. There's Shiraz. 99% of the Jews in Shiraz were observant. Not learned, but observant. And Tehran was a more secular city. The majority of the Jews in Tehran were not observant. But Shiraz were observant. Most of the boys who came to the yeshivas, they came from Shiraz. So the families, they came from observant families, and the parents wanted they should, continue their Jewish studies. But the families live in Shiraz. The families knew one another going back minimally 1,500 years, 2,000 years. So if there were any marriages, they would only marry families that the families knew one another. If they didn't know, they would marry. Now they're confronted with a whole different issue now. The parents are in Iran, or they call Persia, and here they're in the United States. The boys are here already 6, 7, 8 years. They're ready to get married. The parents, no. The parents always had to condone the marriage. Otherwise, they didn't marry. So what do? Call up the parents. Parents said, well, we don't know the family. And the parents were so committed to this whole understanding. You only marry if the families know one another. The kids couldn't get married. It wasn't so simple. It was like breaking tradition over here. And they did. And they married, and the parents understood there was no other way that the children could continue with their lives. Okay? The father has to be agreeable. He's not agreeable, that's no marriage. Not even the question. So does he have to remain silent, or does he have to say yes? It's going to be a discussion in the Gemara. Rotza of Mekudeshes. If the father was agreeable, she's Mekudeshes. If not, she's not Mekudeshes. What about Mesaov? The father passed away, so there was no yes, there was no no. Harizim Mekudeshes. She's married. Of course, there's no way he could protest. So the Gemara doesn't explain. If the whole idea is as long as the father doesn't protest, doesn't oppose it, it's silence, okay? If the man died, he's silent forever. Right? As they say, forever keep your peace. This man's forever keeping his peace. Okay, so therefore, Harezu Mukudeshes. Mesa Ben, now there's an issue. He marries on the condition that the father does not protest. The father hasn't yet become aware that his son married the woman. The son dies, childless. Now what's going to be? The wife has to fall to Yibum. So the Malamdin Ha'ov Lo Mashene Rotze. So the Bezdin instructs the father to say, oppose it. So by opposing it, so there's no marriage retroactively. So therefore the wife was not a wife, so therefore she will not fall to Yibum.
Why are we assuming that the father didn't know about it?
No, we're talking about it. If you know about it, it's understood. You can't instruct him. If he knew and he didn't oppose it, he's married to her already. No, of course not. Once he knew, it's over. Once he became aware of it, and the Bezdin knows he could have opposed it, did not oppose it, the marriage is a marriage. It's speaking about, they called the father, he said, by the way, your son's married. And they said, we're going to tell you something now, and we're instructing you, the moment we share this information, we want you to oppose it. Immediately, I mean, the moment, otherwise, because if he remains silent, that means he's already accepted it. But it's not simple, because the Gemara is going to ask a question. If he has to say yes, the Gemara is going to ask a contradiction. From the beginning of the mission, it seems to be the father remaining silent. Right? As long as the father, because it says if the father dies, the marriage is a marriage. So evidently, what does it mean? Wanting? Non-protesting. And then afterwards, it concludes, they teach the father to say he doesn't want. That means he has to say yes, but yes or no. Remaining silent is not enough. So the Gemara is going to ask a contradiction in the Mishnah. Okay, we'll see it in a moment. We don't want her. It's not a first. If actually, a man is married to a woman. I mean, firstly, he never consummated the marriage yet, even though she's his wife. It's not the optimum thing. Person falls to Yibum if actually he's married. An unconditional marriage, she has to fall to Yibum. This was a conditional marriage. So if factually it's conditional, so it's not his wife. No, there's no. Kiddushin means it's his wife. A brother has to perpetuate the memory of the brother. Okay? My almanashi tza'aba. Now the more question. What does it mean on the condition the father is agreeable? Ilem adoma abba ein. Does it mean the father has to say yes? That's what. If father says yes, it's a marriage. He doesn't say yes, it's not a marriage. See also. So let's see the middle case. Mesa of Harezu Mukudeshes says that the father dies, she's married. He didn't say yes, right? If Yirtza Abba means he has to say yes, it's not meaning non-protesting, so he never said yes. So why is she married? So evidently, what does it mean? What does it mean he agrees? He doesn't protest. Elo, Almanas, Sheyishtok. He remained silent. Silence is agreement. So Rashi says when? He remained silent forever, or he remained silent the moment he becomes aware. Because so Rashi says, Sheyishma kisheyishma rotzov sheshosak b'shas shmiya mikudeshes. Meaning, when he first found out that his son married this woman, he remained silent. Lo rotza, and what does it mean? Lo rotza shemicha. He didn't remain silent. He says, I'm not interested. But it doesn't mean he has to say yes. Because he has to say yes, so when the father dies, he didn't say yes. Okay? Shishma rotza of, and what does rotza mean? Sheshosak. B'shashmiya. He remained silent when he became aware that his son was married. And what's lo rotza? Shemicha. He protested. So Tosas, we'll see Tosas, interesting. Tosas agrees with Rashi, but Tosas asks a question. If we're saying that be agreeable means that when he became aware he didn't protest, so what's the case where it says that the father dies, then what? Then he's married to her, right? But if we're saying he becomes aware and he remains silent, he never became aware. Maybe if he would have become aware, maybe he would have protested it. It should be a something kiddushin. No, the Mishnah says the father dies, the marriage is intact. So Tosef, why is it intact? If we say, what does it mean? He agrees. He becomes aware. He doesn't protest. So if he dies, maybe if he would have been alive, he would have protested it. No, if he knew then there's no chiddush. Right, that means he agreed. No, then the whole thing, then the son, we're talking about this father's alive. Then the whole thing's nonsense. Then it's nonsense. If the person said, as long as my father doesn't protest, that's called agreeable. That means he has to be aware and he doesn't protest. If the son made the condition, the father already was dead and buried 20 years in the grave. So that means, like, Al-Manasi lift the building. It's all nonsense. It's foolishness. So speaking about the condition had relevance, had value. So Tosfos asks, maybe if the father would have been alive, he would have been against it. He would have been opposed to the marriage. So why is it a marriage? So Tosfos answers, we'll see in a moment, because the presumption is he would have wanted. That's the presumption. He wouldn't have protested. He would have been in agreement. No, because he figures his son, he relies on his son. His son wants it, he's agreeable to it. Right? Look, if the son really wanted to marry her, regardless of whether the father wanted or didn't want, he wouldn't have made the condition. He wouldn't have made the condition. And he's assuming, by making the condition, on the chance his father's opposed, his father, then that's why he's saying the condition. But the probability is he won't be opposed. So therefore, if the father dies, the presumption is, he would have agreed, therefore the marriage is a marriage. That's what Tosfos answers. No, the condition is, there's no opposition. The father didn't oppose it. No, but that the Gemara proved not. That the Gemara proved not. Because it says, why if he dies, why is it a marriage? That's the proof. Al-Nashi Yitzhaba doesn't mean he has to say yes. Because if he has to say yes, if he dies, he never said yes. So evidently, what does agreeable means? As long as he doesn't oppose. So if he dies, he's not opposing it.
You can attest that if the groom knew that his father was dead, he would never have made such a
Exactly.
Right. So if the father was dead, it doesn't interfere in any way, whether he said yes or no.
No, here we're talking about, when he married her, the father was alive. And that's why he made the condition. No, he was asking, what about if he made the condition when the father was dead? The whole thing's irrelevant.
No, the father died after he made the condition.
So what? So good. So what happened?
It doesn't interfere with the fact that the father had said nothing.
No, but the Gemara says not this way. The Gemara says if non-interfere, if agreement means he has to say yes, said the father never said yes, the marriage is not a marriage. That the Gemara says explicitly. Right? The Gemara said, what does it mean the father should be agreeable? Does he have to say yes? If he has to say yes, so why if he dies, where he never said yes, why is it a marriage? He was unaware that his son ever married. So therefore, the Gemara says, agreeable means as long as he doesn't protest. Right? That's what the Gemara said. Andrew, what are you saying? One chance. The moment he becomes aware, that's the one chance. When he hears about it, he won't protest it. He won't object to it. Because if it's not objecting ever, for the first 20 years he's happy, all of a sudden he said that it's not possible. He's not making such a condition. So what he meant to say, he's agreeable, not agreeable means the moment he hears about it, he'll either agree or disagree. That's the case of death. He'll never hear about it. He dies, he'll never hear about it. So, but you say, but maybe theoretically, if he would have been aware, he would have protested. So the presumption is he wouldn't have protested. Well, the Gemara is going to ask that question. The Gemara is going to ask the question. The Gemara is going to ask the question. We'll wait for the Gemara. That's Tosfos' question. That's Tosfos' question. No, the presumption he wouldn't have. No. When he hears, he will not. when he would hear it, not that he has to hear it. If he will hear it, he will not object. Right? So if there's a chance he would have, then we're in the quandary. It's not distorting. That's not called distorting. Once we go, it doesn't mean don't openly saying yes. So now the question is, what did he mean? When my father becomes aware, he should not oppose. But let's say he can't become aware, right? So if he can't become aware, so of course. But still, he doesn't want his father to object to marriage. So the presumption is that he didn't. That's what Tosas answers. But Tosas can ask a question in a moment, not a question on that. You know, it's interesting. You know, there's a discussion if hasra sofik shmei hasra lo shmei hasra. If you forewarn a person, anytime you're punished, you have to be forewarned. Otherwise, you can't be punished in Bezdin. Okay? What about when you're forewarned? There's a question whether what you're doing is forbidden or not forbidden. Right? For instance, Torah, if you're of the opinion that lav shim b'masa lo kanolov, that even if you violate a lav, which is not, a person doesn't actively violate it, even if it's violated passively, you're subject to malchus. So everybody agrees that if a person leaves kochim till dawn, it's a lav lo simenat boker, one doesn't get malchus. There's an argument, why don't you get malchus? It's because it's lav anitik laseg, because the lav could be corrected by burning the kochim that's left, or it's because it's hasra sofik lav shmei hasra. Because when are you forewarned? Before the last moment comes. It's not simple. Who said you're going to leave it? Maybe you'll burn it. Maybe you'll consume it before the last moment comes. So at the time at Asra of the forewarning, it's not clear that you're going to be in violation of the law. It's only theoretically if you will violate it. Therefore, but the moment hasn't yet come that you're in violation. I mean, even to violate it. Right? A person says, don't commit murder. Pulling the trigger is murder, even at this moment. Here at this moment, this sacrificial meat has no relevance to no, sir. So Mercer, that's how there's an argument. So Tosas asks a question in Makos on according to the opinion. Andrew, you learned Makos, I think. So Morris says, the Mishnah says in Makos, if you have a person who's a Nazir, and he starts drinking wine, and they forewarn him, says, don't drink, because you're a Nazir, and it has a liability to get Malchus, and he keeps guzzling the wine, so for every revius he drinks, he gets another set of Malchus. Okay, that's the Mishnah. So Tosas asks, but factually, what happens if the Nazir, if he accepts upon himself to be a Nazir, he goes before a Chacham or a panel, and he annuls the Nazirus. So retroactively, he was never a Nazir, correct? So if that's the case, how do you get every case of Hasra, it's always Hasra Sofik, because there's a chance he may annul the neder. Nazir is a neder. And if he annuls the neder retroactively, he's not a Nazir. So every Hasra, every time you forewarn a Nazir, it's always Hasra Sofik, because there's a chance he may annul it. That's Tosas' question in Marcos.
You have to predict the chance, right? You have to make more and make difference between the probability.
No. The Gemara doesn't discuss this.
Because he has to be forewarned with respect to the drinking of the wine.
To be subject to Malchus.
To be subject to Malchus. But once you forewarn him, there's an understanding that if you do this without nullifying the vow, you're in big trouble, my friend.
Yeah, but that's always. If you don't eat the kochim, the sacrificial meat, before that last moment, and you'll pass that last moment, you can be subject to Malchus. That's what they tell him.
No, but I would say that if they said to him, you need to first nullify
They don't have to say anything. So it's the same thing by Noser. Leaving over sacrificial meat beyond dawn. It's understood. If you leave it beyond dawn, you're going to be in violation. If you don't leave it beyond dawn, you're not going to be in violation. So you're also, if we say it's retroactive, so that means when you actually drank the wine, you weren't a Nazir. What difference does it make?
This is an act of that.
So what difference does it make? But the whole discussion is, are you doing an Isser? Are you in violation of whatever it is when you're actually doing it?
I would argue that if he see you had warned, knowing that you could get out of the fight by getting an annulment, and he didn't, maybe he can't get a subsequent annulment. This idea of
He could get. Factually, if he got the annulment afterwards, it's annulled. It's annulled. He will not get Malchus. He factually will not get Malchus.
I thought that the idea of an annulment is, had I known the consequences,
No.
I would never have gone down this road.
He could say,
Because that's the question they
he
ask.
would say, if he would knew to what degree. No, they don't say anything. No, that's the basis for the annulment. So let's say if he would have known that he'd be injured to such a degree, he'd be incapacitated for the next 3 years, he wouldn't have drunk the wine. He wouldn't have made the netter initially. Okay? So that's the basis for the annulment. What you say at the time and what you think afterwards are two different things. Right? So a person regrets something. Annulment's not only based if I would have known, it's even if you regret. You're fully aware, and despite that you say it, but later you regret that you originally made yourself to be the nut.
The nuzzer, either he is a nuzzer, in which case he's not allowed to drink, or he's not a nuzzer.
Yeah, but if he's shoel, but if he knows the netter, it's retroactive.
Right, so then
So he didn't
the
do anything.
warning was useless. I mean, it was not necessary. He was allowed to drink.
That's the question. It's always hasura sofik. That's Tos's question. It's hasura sofik. So according to the opinion, hasura sofik lo shmei hasura, had he ever given those in Malchus? Right? It's a machlok samoroim. It's a mishnah. Mishnah is you drink, you get Malchus. So Tosa says, David, Tosa's answers, because since he's a nozer now, there's a presumption he's not going to be showing. He's not going to know it. See, here, it hasn't become nozer yet. It hasn't become nozer. That's a so. Here he is a nozer.
Nazir voted on himself. He put himself in that status.
Not bec-
Therefore, you have a presumption.
He is that, therefore there's a presumption he will not annul it. So therefore you deal with the reality of what he's now. Okay? Therefore that doesn't in any way undermine the validity of the hasro. The other is he doing Isser? Will he do an Isser? Right? So if that's the case, maybe he will, maybe he won't. That's hasro of Sophic.
It's no sort making something no sort of Isser, where the Torah, isn't there an argument where the Torah prescribes the remedy? Is it,
No, it isn't
have you
Isser.
done something wrong? By leaving over no say,
It's only a correction in regard that you won't get Malchus. You won't get Malchus.
brings Ola, you've done something wrong.
Let's say you bring an Ola, you still need some degree of kapara. Ola is mechaper lavanitik lasei. Asei and lavanitik lasei, and both. Okay? Let's take a look at Taptosis. Just have just a few minutes. Elam nashi yishtok abo. On the condition that the father remains silent. What is the meaning of that? Pirish b'kunchis. She yishtok b'shas shmiyah. Right? Meaning he remains silent when he first becomes aware that his son married the woman. Doesn't mean he remains silent for the rest of his life. V'ein lefer sheyishtok l'olam. Doesn't mean he has to remain silent forever. Dim kain. Hainu shlo yimche. So that's based processing. If he could always, right, it should say shlo yimche, not shlo yishtok. Am nashi yishtok. The besamuch ve'echi omer behem rotza av mukudeshes. It says that the father was agreeable. She's mukudeshes. Hari shem yimche. Right, the Mishnah says rotza, and what does rotza mean? He did not protest. But if it means forever, someday he may protest. Right? Hari shem yimche achach v'yivatel kiddushin. El l'shmami no. So Tosas concurs with Rashi. What does it mean? Yishtok. She yishtok b'shas shmiyo. Komar. When initially he finds out his son married a woman, he remained silent. V'achi perushin amasti. So rotza of kloma sheshozak b'shas shmiyo mekudeshes. Lo rotza of. What does it mean? Lo rotza. He was opposed to it. El l'micho ein mekudeshes. Meaning he protested immediately. He objected immediately. Mesav, okay, now Tosas has this question. It says in the Mishnah, if the father dies, mukudeshes. Pirush Mesav, kodem hashmiya. Means before he became aware, he passed away. Because if he became aware and he remained silent, so he condoned the marriage already. The ein loma acha shmiya. When it says the father dies, he died after he became aware. V'shasak. V'lo micha. Chidush, what's the chidush? So that means he condoned. He ready. Says his dying later is totally irrelevant. So what does it mean, mess? He passed away before he became aware that the son even married. So Tosas asks the question, Tomar, Me'acha demes kodem hashmiya. If he died before he became aware that his son, Hechim Kudeshes, Dilmo Ihave Shoma Havimocha. Maybe if he would have been aware, he would have protested it. So how do we say the marriage is definitely marriage? Let it be questionable. Maybe yes, maybe no. No, it'd be Safim Kudeshes. Safik. So you'd have to give her a get. Misafik. Give her a get, misafik. Whatever. We evaluate his mindset. We say the presumption is the father would have protested. So therefore, the non-protest. No, it says omdim daito. Lodin daito. That means we evaluate his mind. Let's say he married a. Let's say the family has been feuding for generations. The woman he married, and so that if that would be the case, then it's not simple. There's no presumption. But you never know. He wants to cover all bases. You never know. So if you never know, the presumption is the father would have been agreeable to be continued.